This tutorial is the T-Stat in-service for OR personnel. When preparing for use, first plug the power cord into a working 110-volt power outlet. Make sure the female end of the cord is firmly seated into the back right-hand corner of the T-Stat. Next, make sure the toggle switch is in the on position. This is indicated with the dash symbol, meaning the switch will be depressed to the left. Important to note, if the toggle switch is not in this position, the T-Stat may still power on but will be using the battery to operate. Once the battery is drained, of course, the T-Stat will automatically shut down. As patients are moved from the OR to PACU and from PACU to their recovery floor, this is an important note to pass on as a part of your handoff. This is also a good time to check that there is a Wi-Fi antenna attached to the upper left of the rear panel. T-Stat cannot transmit data for remote viewing without this antenna. If you find it is missing, please contact your T-Stat representative. Technical support contact information can be found on the side panel of each device. Once plugged in and moving the toggle switch to the on position, return to the front of the device and press the silver button located in the top right corner on the front panel in order to power on the device. T-Stat will first run through a hardware check and then a software check to ensure all systems are functioning properly. The final check is sound. Once you hear the double beep, T-Stat is ready to use. In the event of a system error, T-Stat will display the error on the touch screen and alert you to contact technical support. T-Stat sensors come in sterile packaging and are for single patient use. Once peeled open, the distal end should be kept on the sterile field. The proximal end can be passed off to the OR circulator and attached to the port located on the front panel in the lower right-hand corner. This next step is very important. Please pay close attention. Each sensor contains a computer flex circuit that can be broken if the sensor is not properly attached. If this sensor is bent or torn, the sensor will be damaged and unusable. Damage typically occurs here as a result of overturning the sensor when connecting. To properly connect the sensor, line up the red line on the proximal end of the sensor with the red arrow located at the 12 o'clock position on the connection port. Make sure the sensor is fully seated prior to rotating. Sometimes the final quarter inch of seating the sensor can feel snug. Once fully seated, rotate the sensor so the red line is now at the 3 o'clock position. We have added a stop sign here for better visualization. Remember, if the red line is rotated past this position, the sensor will be damaged and need to be replaced. In this proper position, the distal end of the sensor will also become illuminated. The sensor will go through a self-check just as the T-Stat did on boot up. The self-check has a visual indicator of the rainbow circle you see here. A new sensor that has never been connected to a specific T-Stat will take longer to pair up. A minute or longer is typical. A T-Stat will recognize a sensor that it has used before and will pair rather quickly. Notably, T-Stat uses white light, which is not affected by ambient light. This will be a change for those of you who may be used to using a near-infrared device. Near-infrared devices are affected by ambient light. T-Stat is not, so there is no need to adjust OR lighting in any way when using T-Stat and obtaining accurate readings. Once the sensor calibration process is complete, T-Stat is ready for use. Press the monitor button located in the upper left-hand corner of the display screen. Then press the Start button, located in the same position. This will initiate the monitoring process. There is sometimes a short delay of a second or less from the pressing of button to a screen change. The button color will change from yellow to gray during this period to let you know that the button has been successfully pressed. Now let's go over the screen icons, functions, and on-screen messages. Starting at the top, you will see the graph. T-Stat uses a dual graph to illustrate the trends of STO2 indicated in green. You can see the absolute STO2 value here, also in green. In addition to STO2, T-Stat monitors hemoglobin levels. This is indicated in pink both on the graph and the absolute value here. The graph display default is 30 minutes. This can be changed by pressing the down arrow located here. Most facilities, however, leave this setting at the default setting. Graphing trends become difficult to see in this space when longer time periods are selected. Online viewing using our on-call remote monitoring application is much better for viewing longer periods of data. Current date and time is located just below that here. Changing date and time must be done in the Options screen, which cannot be accessed during monitoring. Please see our video T-Stat Overview and Initial Setup to adjust the date and time. Moving back to the left, you will see the Pause button. The Pause button will only be here when actively monitoring. When not monitoring, this button goes away from view. Use the Pause button as needed, intraoperatively, in between spot checks, or when moving placement of the sensor to prevent alarms from sounding. Below the Pause button, you can see the Alarm Limit button here. Press this button to adjust the threshold of when you would like the alarm to sound. Alarm defaults are based on STO2 only and not hemoglobin values. The default low value is set at 20%, and the default high value is set at 90%. We recommend leaving settings at these defaults, since surgeons are able to set other values for private alarms sent to them through the on-call remote monitoring application. Should your surgeon advise you to adjust these settings, you can do so in 10-point or 1-point increments up or down using the arrows. T-Stat will continue to monitor while alarm settings are adjusted. Press Hide Limits when done here to return to the monitoring screen. Moving left to right along the bottom of the display screen, you see messaging indicating the current status of T-Stat. Any errors with the sensor or sensor placement would be indicated here. Light level, indicated here, alerts us how much light is getting from the proximal to distal end of the sensor and back again. We want these bars green or yellow. Red bars indicate not enough light is traveling through the sensor. If your T-Stat displays red bars here, try uncoiling the sensor to improve. If uncoiling the sensor does not change these bars to green or yellow, the sensor will likely need to be replaced. Here is the Wi-Fi symbol. If connected and able to transmit data, the symbol will be green, and the signal strength will be indicated by the number of arches illuminated green, much like other devices you are familiar with, such as your mobile phone. If Wi-Fi is not connected, this icon will be gray. Connecting to Wi-Fi can be done in two places. Like setting date and time, connecting to Wi-Fi must be done in the Options screen, which cannot be accessed during monitoring. Please see our tutorial video entitled T-Stat Overview and Initial Setup for connecting this way. Wi-Fi connection can also be added or changed by pressing the Wi-Fi symbol directly on the touch screen. If actively monitoring a patient, you must select the Pause button to open Wi-Fi settings. Once you have finished making Wi-Fi changes, simply press the OK button in the Wi-Fi screen and then press the Start button to return to active monitoring. The next icon is the battery indicator. These are the various battery icons you will see in this space. This image shows T-Stat is using battery power to operate. The number of bars indicates the amount of battery life. A fully charged battery, as in this first image, will last a minimum of 30 to 60 minutes. The next image illustrates an exhausted battery, and the device will soon begin an automatic shutdown process. Plug the device into a power outlet to prevent shutdown. This image shows T-Stat is plugged in with toggle switch properly pressed to the on position. Notice the battery icon flashing, indicating that T-Stat is being powered by electricity and the battery is charging. This next image shows T-Stat is plugged in and fully charged. The final image also indicates that T-Stat is properly plugged in and the battery is charging. Notice the AC displayed, indicating the device is running on electricity. The final icon is the alarm icon. The viewable options here are as follows: red and flashing, actively alarming based on the settings of the alarm. Green with a check mark, active and ready. Red with a number between 1 and 5 overlaying the icon. This is a silenced alarm. The number is a countdown of how many minutes until silencing expires and the alarm sound will begin to sound again. Gray with an X over the icon. The alarm has been disabled. We strongly recommend never disabling the alarm. Since T-Stat 2.0 has a battery backup, patients can be transported from the OR to PACU or other department without powering down. We recommend that as part of the handoff, hospital personnel pass on the importance of properly plugging in T-Stat with toggle switch in on position, as well as properly connecting and disconnecting sensor if the receiving nurse may need to do so for patient ambulation. As a reminder, each T-Stat also has a set of reference cards tethered to the top handle of the T-Stat, which illustrates much of what we covered today. Thank you for your time, and never hesitate to ask your T-Stat representative or technical support for assistance. We are here to help.